Good afternoon, everybody. Today we're going to speak about Thomas Stern Eliot, one of the most outstanding writers of the 20th century. Let's start by speaking about his life. I have jotted down some notes on the little board behind us. I don't know how useful they will be to you because I know that it's a bit hard to see them, but you can follow what I am saying by using your textbook or any textbook will do. If not, you can use the PowerPoint presentation that your teachers and I have shared with you on the school's notice board. We are going to speak about T.S.Eliot, and we're going to start by speaking about his life. Why is it important to know about an author's life? Because obviously the experiences he had during his life affected his work, his production, and in T.S. Eliot's case they really did affect his work from a personal point of view and from a professional, from a general point of view. T.S. Eliot had a very, very intense life. Let's have a look at when he was born. He was born in 1888 and he died in 1965. It is very, very clear, I am sure, to all of you, that T.S. Eliot witnessed, T.S. Eliot experienced two world wars in 1914 and in 1939. So, and the period in between the two wars and the post-World War period. So these political events speak for themselves. Also from a personal point of view, his life was very intense and from many points of view rather unhappy, at least initially. So where was he born? He was born in Missouri and in America, but he had English origins. His family were English, and this also affected him and his ways because, for example, at the university he was considered as a peculiar student because of his way of dressing, the fact that he smoked a pipe, so he was a little bit different, the way we all are, I suppose. But having parents who were born in England and living in America as a child made him also look at things from a wider perspective. This is why when we speak about T.S. Eliot, we often speak about a cosmopolitan writer. And it is true that he had a cosmopolitan mind because of his origins, but also because of the fact that he traveled a lot. I'm not sure whether you can see it, but he graduated at Harvard. In 1910 he got his MA. In 1910 he went to live in France. He went to la Sorbonne de Paris. So he went to live on the other side of the planet. And in 1914, when World War I broke out, he went to study at the university in Germany. So he traveled a lot. As for his personal life, in 1915 he married a ballet dancer called Vivienne Haywood, but their marriage was very, very unhappy. Unhappy because Vivienne had mental problems and she had to be taken to a mental hospital. So obviously this strongly influenced T.S. Eliot's life, also because they managed to divorce, but not before 1933 did they divorce. This influenced him so much that eventually he himself decided to go to a sanatorium in Switzerland to recover from a nervous breakdown. What kind of jobs did he do? What can we say about his professional life? He published essays on philosophy. He taught for a while. He was a teacher. He worked as a clerk for Lloyd's Bank, and in 1925 eventually he became the director of Faber and Faber's. But what happened before that? In 1921, as I mentioned before, he decided to go to a sanatorium in Switzerland to recover from a nervous breakdown. And this was an extremely important moment in his life, because it's the period in which he wrote The Wasteland, his masterpiece, which was then published the year after in 1922. Subsequently, as I said, he became the director of Faber and Faber, and we have another extremely important event in his life, which was his conversion to Anglicanism and to the Church of England. It was a turning point in his life. You can see it here, Church of England turning point, because he also changed his view of life. He became a little bit more optimistic, and faith began to give him more hope in life and in the future. From a literary point of view, 1930 was a turning point when he, in his production, because his second phase of production began in this period. Another, and perhaps the most important event in his life, for us at least, maybe not for him, was winning the Nobel Prize for Literature in 1948. We're speaking about the post-World War. After the Second World War, the war finished in 1945, he won the Nobel Prize for Literature in 1948. When we have a chance to read his poems together, or maybe you can read them from home, you will understand why he won this Nobel Prize. And then, to conclude with his life, in 1957 he married his secretary, who was 30 years younger than him, and he died in 1965 in London, where he had settled with his new wife, and where he was still writing. This is a general picture of, let's say, a brief picture of T.S.Eliot's life. I will continue talking about his production and the techniques and the styles in his work in our next video. For now, I'll give you a little break, and I'll see you to speak about T.S. Eliot's works, in particular The Wasteland. Do you know what the wasteland means? Do you know what waste means? Waste is, how can I explain it to you in English? It is what we do when, for example, we throw away food. If we throw away food, we are wasting food. If we sit down all day doing nothing, we are wasting our time. If we sit in front of our mobile phone all day, alienating ourselves from the people we have in the house, if we have any people in the house, or from ourselves, because sometimes we tend to alienate ourselves from ourselves, that is a waste. It's a waste of time, it's a waste of life. When you throw away the rubbish, You are doing waste separation. You are separating your waste, so you get the plastic and the paper and the organic things, and you separate them, and this is called waste separation. So the work we will study, we are going to study, is the wasteland, and it is an extraordinary work. So I hope you will enjoy it. See you soon. Bye.